Love you guys. Glad you're all here. Glad we're fired up for another day. And again, we are deep in content to really help us. This is where we get our daily dose of motivation, inspiration, a whole lot of information that we can take into our day and work our butt off and get some perspiration. So with that being said, man, yesterday I had laid out that we were going to talk like chapter 38 through 41. And we really got through like chapter 38 only. We spent a lot of time setting that up and understanding that connection part of the process. And so I can't wait to see what you guys pull from chapter 39 through 41 today. And April up, hand raised, ready to go. So I'm going to call on her in a moment. This is your guys' room. So just know if your mic is hot, Carrie, I'm going to be calling on you shortly. April, what do you got?
So I wanted to point out chapter 41. I really like that he breaks down the learning modalities, visual thinkers, auditory thinkers, and kinesthetic thinkers, and also just finding what they are just from the way that they word things, and then you can also match that by wording things similarly. And I found it very interesting because when people do that to me, and I've noticed I do connect with them a lot easier. I feel a lot more comfortable with them too.
Yeah, and this is the next level of mirror and matching. We've talked about the disc profile and kind of meeting them with their style. And we talked about, the communication style of matching body language and matching tonality and rate of speech, and maybe even some keyword backtracking. And now we have another layer of their learning modality. And this is where this concept of always being present lays into this. Presence is the key. Not thinking about what you're going to say, being willing to just pause and listen and pay attention to everything going on. And the magic will happen when you start being more present. Thanks for that, April. Kimberly, Mike's hot. You came in. You know me. I'm going to call on you. What do you got? So Mike is hot, and at the moment she is not plugged in. So I'm looking for mics. I'm looking for hands. Guys, it's your room. What else you have from the content?
I would say understanding the psychology behind all of it is personally and so important. For me, I really understand better when I have a deep knowledge of why I'm doing what I'm doing. So these last few chapters, and especially this, was very helpful to me. Some things I may have thought before, but now I really know and make a huge concerted effort to be discerning of that. Especially so for the non-anxious and anxious, that's always super helpful because especially lately, for some reason, I've been the calm person and everybody else has been like freaking out. And I'm like, okay, like I need to find a really good way to help them, and teach them about this process as opposed to just being like, relax. You know what I mean? So I'm happy to be learning about that in this and in my class before this. So thank you for this book. It is a godsend.
Something you said that I really want to hone in on with you and for you.
Okay.
That now what's happening is you are the calm one.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're learning, you actually have knowledge, which takes you right through these three goals at the beginning of chapter 39.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Clarity. You've now got clarity of path, clarity of where you want to go, clarity of who you want to become in this process, which then builds your confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence will help you be the more stable one in that section. Your clients usually, they don't have confidence because they don't know what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
And you are the Eagle Scout them through the woods of real estate. And so just remember, we got to get them to clarity, just like you are, to confidence, and ultimately a comfort to commit and process. Who else?
Thank you for that. That was good.
So I like how those particular goals are really clear, because without these three things, there is no sale. They're mandatory to the process, and particularly clarity. Um, Very few people make a decision when they're not absolutely clear. And if they do make a decision and they're not absolutely clear, there's buyer's remorse, there's hesitation. It makes the process just very unbearable. So what hit me really is that clarity. And it's something that I'm working at. In terms of that clarity comes with asking questions. Clarity comes with asking questions. So that's what I took away.
Well, you're absolutely on point, Clint. That's exactly what we get to be better at, asking questions. I know you and I talked this morning on that, and just consistently getting better and better about asking more questions, and then ultimately asking better questions. What else you guys have from the content? Mark Adams, brother, always rely on you. What do you got?
Page 221 at the bottom, it says next steps. It says you have one more step. However, you'll need to convert your knowledge into the ninja selling system into an actual ninja skills. How do you convert knowledge into skill? Practice. And this is where my coach and the lover of Coach Russ comes in. He absolutely loves when you take information and you actually apply it. That's his thing. He'll stop sometimes in the middle of a training. Up, pick up the phone, let's make some phone calls. So what this says is that you're not a ninja. You need to practice these processes with a partner or in a small group. We recommend that you do it at least 1 hour a week with your partner or skills group to rehearse. So I'd be willing to lead a group, 30 minutes, a half hour, where we can practice with each other if you guys are willing. I don't want to jump into Russ's class, but I do know that he loves it when we take the information and actually apply it. He loves implementation, and I'd be willing to do that if you guys are. Just let me know. It could be as soon as 1 week from now. We could do it on Fridays. We could do it on a Thursday, but I'd be willing to lead. And really, it'd be very structured. And really, the goal would be to role play specific parts of this training so that we can put it into practice. Because if you guys are like me, it doesn't get done because there's a fear associated with you're going to get it wrong. And so I do love practice. I love listening to this information over and over again in my car, but there's nothing like actually saying it out live to another person and getting feedback. And like I said, I'd be willing to do that if you guys are. And forgive me, Russ, if I stepped on your toes.
There
No,
is
man,
there
you
is a class
embraced
before
me.
this from 8:30 to 9 with
You
Shara
gave-
and Mark.
You gave me a hug, Mark Adams, because absolutely that's been on our game plan, and it's actually in the schedule that from 2 to 2:30 Central in the Renegade Room is practice and role play. We get enough folks showing up there. Yesterday it was just me and Ghana, so we jumped on phones and got in the calls. Guys, here's how you're going to learn these conversations. There's a 3-step process. Step 1, and this is from a coach perspective. Step 1 is role model. So we as the coach teach you the script, which thanks to Larry, we've got the Ford sandwich right there, and we've already talked and taught you that script. Step 2 is role play, like Mark's talking about. So you come into the Renegade Room at 2 o'clock Central. We get enough folks, and you guys role play for 30 minutes. And then step 3 is real play, where you then actually make the conversations. So that's why we have that 2 to 5 o'clock block where 30 minutes of role play, 2.5 hours of real play. If you did that every day for a month, just how good would you be at this Ford conversation? Got to get you to show up to do it. And that room is always there, always open, 2 to 5, Monday through Friday. If you guys will just start showing up, doing the work. All right. So thank you for bringing that in, Mark. Carrie, your mic's hot. What else?
Oh, shoot. So I didn't read up to 42, but
Good, because we didn't cover 39 through 40 or 38 through 40 today either.
okay. So the other thing that I really learned about this is the push-pull idea. And then on page 216 and 17, the power dynamic as well, need power and the power for the need, that stuff that I really, these are, like you said before, this is all really the meat. This is all the stuff that I'm like really into and understanding more why I need to do that. And in the beginning, I would say there was a point where I'd be like, oh, I don't want to ask so many questions. Maybe I seem like I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe they're gonna, they're gonna think, why don't you already know those things? Like you're the person that's supposed to lead me. So now I feel a little bit better about that, but it took a while for me to get through that.
Excellent. So let's talk about this power dynamic and need. Need equals lack. If you are in a state of need, something is missing. And most of the time, that's a choice. I need the money. Biggest complaint by real estate agents, so they show up with commission breath. And if your need is high, if you're showing up needy, I got to get this sale, you are subconsciously, unconsciously giving away all your power to lead, your power to truly pour into them and serve them. And so I just challenge you all, even if there is a financial challenge at the moment, know that if you just follow the processes, the money will show up. Have faith that things will work out if you just follow the models and do the work.
I'm starting to just say, God will provide. Will provide. God
I
will
promise you guys, if you would show up every day from 2 to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday, and do the work, you'd all be obscenely wealthy. All right? That being said, some faith. Colleen, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I have a pair I'm working with, and I'm just going to point out page 220, showing them more than 5 homes in one showing sequence. So like he shows up with, he's in from out of town. So he's like, I want to see 8. We got a chance for him to go drive by some of them and eliminate 3. So we were down to 5. So that was kind of good. I do videos when I go through because he loved the first one. Absolutely loved the first one. And it checked all of his boxes. But by the time we got to the second day and looked at a bunch more houses, it's like he forgot about the first one. So I uploaded that to a YouTube video and I sent it to him yesterday. And I'm like, this one it seemed to check so many boxes. Now, of course, this was after I asked a lot of the Ford questions and his why and everything else. So because he had sent me a bunch more that didn't even check his boxes that he wanted to go see today. And I just called him and had a conversation. And, Dennis, can I just get real with you and just find out why are we changing our mode all of a sudden? Like now we're looking at homes that don't check any of the boxes that you originally. I said that very first home you said you can sit on this sun porch and see yourself doing your devotionals. You can see yourself out by the pond doing your daily devotionals. It had this massive workshop that was your man cave, your dream. Got him all back on like, oh, yep, you're right. Let's go back and look at that one again. And so it kind of like brought, like you said, the confusion. But I still have a lot of work to do and asking the right questions. But I felt like just having that genuine conversation kind of brought him back. And I also just want to point out the ninja selling resource that was on the website. I printed that out and made sure I asked a lot of those questions and just loosening him up, asking him about his sports team and his favorite beer and things like that. And it just works so great. The rapport is awesome. So just want to share that.
The only thing I want to add to that, Colleen, because you said it at the end and what you didn't match what you said at the end, because you said at the end, ask better questions. So when you're repainting that picture of the first house, rather than telling them what they said, telling them what they saw, you get them back in the feeling by asking about it. Man, that first one, what did you see in that workshop? How did that make you feel? Man, I remember you talking on the porch. What were you saying then?
Okay. Yeah.
Get them to relive the experience by asking questions.
And then it becomes their idea as well, sort of back, not me pushing and just pulling. Gotcha. Perfect.
Yep. You're right on track, Colleen. Beautiful. All right, guys, who else? You're a little sluggish today. I know it's hump day, but that doesn't mean we're going to be quiet. What do you got?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On that same line, okay, so I've got clients coming in from California, and I'm trying to compile the list of the homes that we're going to see when they get here. Maybe 2 days to look at some things. And media room, game room, fireplace are three, and a good sized yard are, three things. She wants a kitchen and all that, but the media room and a game room and a fireplace. So not every home down here has that. A lot of the new construction homes are not doing fireplaces anymore. So when they favorite a home that does not have a fireplace, what would you say? I mean, because I can say, hey, listen, I can check back and go, I remember you. How important is that fireplace? I mean, but it sounds like I need to dig deeper. How
So
do I dig deeper on that with a question?
Favorite conversations, and again, it's ninja selling. Now, how long have you been married?
To me?
Sure.
Okay. 22
years. Did you marry the perfect man?
Well, no one's perfect, but he's pretty close.
Right? Just like there's no perfect spouse, there's no perfect house either. So just keep in mind that every box may not be checked. So tell me, what are your absolute non-negotiables have to have?
Okay, I can revisit that and make sure I have that. Okay. Fireplace, game room, media room.
This, I will die on the hill. It has to have that.
Game room, media room, and fireplace.
Number 2, well, I don't know about fireplace now. That may be a desire, not a non-negotiable. And then ask the flip side. What absolutely will make it a no?
Okay.
So what's everything that is a required yes, and what are the things that are an absolute no? So I'll give you a great one for my spouse. Open the back door, see the high tension lines. Kill. Doesn't matter if everything else about the house is perfect. The location isn't. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you might want to walk them through location. What are those 2 questions on location? The must-haves, the no-ways. What are the 2 locations on amenities on the property? The must-haves, the no-ways. What about condition? Okay. Break it down to those 3 and get a little more detail. Asking great questions, okay?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Love it. Great question. Let's get back into the content. Who else?
My camera is not working, so forgive me. But can we talk a little bit about the importance of mirroring, just in regards to the customer? I know you talk about that, Russ. You've talked about it before. How can we put, and I'm going to use this term, how do we put ourselves in flow in regards to mirroring our customer?
So remember, it's 55% body language. So mirroring there, it's 38% tonality, rate of speech, volume, energy. It's only 7% the words. So with that being said, I know one particular individual in this room that knows this like the back of the hand because I've watched him present in step 1 this information. So Camacho, you want to take a deeper dive on mirror and matching, my friend?
Sure. Mirror and matching is really one of those understated things. You learn it, and it's awkward at first. And so mirroring is when you repeat the last 2 to 4 words that somebody said. Matching is your physical gestures. For example, if you want to match somebody, I meet somebody, Russ walks in the room, and his arms are crossed. I'm going to cross my arms like that. And he crosses his legs, he takes a drink of water, whatever. We're gonna mirror. we're gonna match. And mirroring, when you're using mirroring, and there's a whole chapter of this in Never Split the Difference, Chris Foss. When you mirror, it basically, when somebody says something, you want to see houses, you kind of go on an upswing. I know we talk a lot about downswings on embedded commands and stuff, and yet on an upswing, when you're repeating the last 2 to 4 words, it begs the other person to keep talking, go deeper. It begs them to probe. Now, here's the really cool thing about mirroring and matching. Initially, we are going to be mirroring and matching that person. And then somewhere in the conversation, you change, and then they start matching you. And when they start matching you, you have achieved rapport at a pretty high level. And it just takes, it could take a minute, it could take 5 minutes, it could take 10 minutes. And yet once you've mirrored and you've matched them, then you strategically shift it, and you can lead them to do pretty much anything that you'd like them to do. So mirroring and matching really, really super important in one-on-one conversations, or even when you're in front of a room teaching.
That's where Carrie had mentioned sometimes it happens naturally. It actually always does when you're in rapport. And so it's a great test, because you do not want to move forward into any type of commitment conversation until you know you're in rapport. That's like, again, in the book, we've all experienced it. You start a conversation with somebody in sales. You go to look at a car. Oh, what do you want in a car? I know exactly what I want. And they'll still keep going down their conversation. In the book, it was about the Marriott timeshare program. Okay. She went to close before there was rapport. Rapport is giving them what they want as often as you can in body language, tonality, rate of speech, and language. Doesn't mean giving them what they want that they ask for. Yep. Hey, I love it on that, Matt. And we're going to get to that section. Thanks for jumping ahead, brother. So, Christy, you are up.
So I just wanted to say that I practiced the mirroring and the forward dialogue yesterday. I was with some older clients from my, I guess it would be previous work, but I still work with them, and they have a home health nurse there. And I've seen her about 3 times, and so I practiced all of that with her. And by the end, she was getting my information and posting my information on her Facebook. We were connecting on Facebook, and she said she would refer me out. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. Just by practicing. I didn't know if it would actually work, but by the end, she was offering if I had anything to send over. I didn't even have to ask technically for the referrals. So.
Excellent example of, yeah, it really does work when you put it in.
Well, you got to practice. Yep.
And by the way, back to the practice and role play. If you're not practicing and role play with us, with other agents, which by the way are the hardest people in the industry to do this with, because we already quote no, unlike your clients. But if you're not practicing with us, who exactly are you practicing on?
Our clients.
Right? Knock that off.
You commented a couple of weeks back something that I thought was so funny. It was that you said, if you really want to learn, go practice on for sale by owners. And I love that, because my drunk monkey is telling me, oh, I don't want to speak to anybody that's a for sale by owner. And why? I don't know. But the fact is, you could use them as your, could I call them your test dummies?
Well, here's the language I use on that and where it came from. There's a whole story behind how I arrived at this. It was actually somebody else's aha. And yet, first-year medical doctors that are learning to be doctors, what do they practice on?
Cadavers.
Cadavers, right?
You can't kill them. You can't kill them. They're already dead.
Bisbos are our cadavers. That's all. So treat them as such.
Isn't that where the expression
late at night and do some work? Call a FISBO. They want to be.
Isn't that where the expression
real estate agents, treat them like real estate
abracadabra
agents.
came from?
Tom, brother, what do you got?
Oh, well, it was a dumb joke. I said, isn't that where the expression abracadabra came from? And I do want to say this. I was talking to you yesterday, Russ. One of the things that it says is start your day with gratitude and then go into your affirmations. And to that end, I just want to tell you, Russ, I'm grateful for you hosting this every day with the enthusiasm of a drunk something, but not a drunk monkey. We appreciate you.
Hey, 6 margaritas before 9 always makes for a great day, right?
Attaboy.
Actually, by the way, we have a health group on Facebook if anybody wants to be getting accountable on health. And it's amazing, man. Broke through another goal today. You cannot outwork a bad diet. And so we talk a lot in there about diet, exercise, making you guys healthy. So Mark Adams, I see you're back in play. What do you got, my friend?
So 2 things. Number one is I remember years ago I was taught a lesson that if you don't role play and practice before you go out on a client, it's going to cost you $10,000. Period. So I was like, oh shoot, if that's the case, because we're practicing on our clients and you learn about halfway through what you should have done and you shouldn't have done. And by the way, you're going to go do it again in the next one. I remember getting on a coaching call and Tony DeSello was my coach at the time. And I wasn't really liking what he was saying to me. He was, saying, it's fun, it's exciting, just pick up the phone and call him. And I'm hanging up the phone after I'm talking to a FISBO, whatever. This is not fun, this sucks, I don't like it. And I did this over and over and over again. I finally said I had enough and I wanted to quit coaching. And Diana Koska got on the phone because I talked to her. She was the president at the time and she made the decisions and basically she said, can I make just an evaluation? I said, yeah. She said, you don't know your scripts and dialogues. And I said, what? She said, the reason it sucks is because you don't know what you're saying. So you got to practice more. And she said, I'm not going to let you out of your contract until you practice more. And you come back and you share those scripts and dialogues with me because it is fun when you do it correctly and you will get results. But you don't know what you're doing. So you're getting frustrated and you're getting pissed off and you're taking it out on us, which is not the case. And I needed that. And she was absolutely correct. Now, I did what she told me to do for a whole year. And now I have to say, at the end of the year, I had results, but I really didn't appreciate and enjoy that type of prospecting. I enjoyed calling my database, the people I had a relationship with, versus calling for sale by owners and expires. But my point is, it was a lesson because I didn't know my scripts and dialogues. With that said, Glenda just asked me if I would role play with her, and I told her I would. So I'm going to jump on the call on Tuesday. And if you guys want to jump on there as well, too. And my thought is we'll go over specifically what's in the content. We're not going to make up anything new. So what's in the content that you guys need to work on, including myself, so that we're prepared when we go on those. I love the reviews where you meet somebody live and you go on a review and you have like a packet of information. So maybe we can talk about what to put in that package. Maybe we can talk about or even have that conversation, because I would say those are the things. He said in the book there was 2 things he asked this ninja, like if you were to do away with everything, what would you keep? The top 2 were calling their database and conversations and meeting with them personally to do their annual review. If that's the number one thing that are doing, then I think that's the number one thing Mark needs to be doing to improve his business. And I want to do it at a high level, and I would like to do it with you guys. So I would like to role play and learn from you guys as well. And so that's my commitment that I'll be here on Tuesday.
And it's every day at 2:00. I'd love to see all of you up your game and plan on doing it every day. Garrett Wilson, love the kid. Have known him for years. NFL Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. How often does he practice? Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Doesn't matter. Guys, we can play at that same level. I expect all of you to be absolute game-changing pros in real estate. That's why we're here. Lots of fun things going on. Love that you're all here. Love that you're pouring into yourselves and pouring into each other. And we are going to have an incredible day today.